Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. The deadline is done. The transfer window is shut. Celtic have done all their business for the 2020-21 summer transfer window. And some are saying, including myself, that this is potentially the best transfer window we've had in perhaps over 10 years. Some even saying as far back as the year we signed Chris Sutton and co. It has been a really eventful window in the quest for 10 in a row. Neil Lennon has been backed by the board. There is no excuses now. We're going to go through the window, the ins and the outs at Celtic, talk about the positives and the negatives. We're going to look at your reaction that I asked for on Twitter, and ultimately just discuss what has been a very successful window for Celtic Football Club. Right then, so heading into this transfer window, the story was keep a hold of the big guys, keep a hold of the key players that could potentially be the winners of 10 in a row. You know, you looked at players like Odsonne Edouard, you looked at players like Christopher Ayer, you looked at players like Olivier Ntcham. All of them were heavily linked with moves away from the club. They were touted to be moving on to bigger and better things across Europe. You had Christopher Ayer apparently being looked at by AC Milan. You had Olivier Ntcham, who was looked at by teams in England, teams in France, teams in Italy. You had Edouard, who was being eyed up by Aston Villa, Arsenal, teams in France also. These were key players and they were very high valued, that arguably were ready to move on to bigger things. They've remained at the club. We have kept them through this window, and that in itself has been a massive success for Celtic. Who really have we lost that is going to make a detrimental effect to this team winning 10 in a row? No one. We have kept the core of this squad. We have added magnificently. We have improved on areas that needed depth. We improved on areas that needed quality in the first team as well, on the park. Really, all the boxes were ticked in this transfer window. Nothing has been left undone. We are not sitting here now as the window shuts thinking to ourselves, well, we've made a hash of that. And there's been years gone past when we've made good signings. You know, there's been good players here and there, but there's been areas we've left ourselves scarce, and throughout the course of the season we've had to revisit it. And this year I don't think we'll have to do that. Now, of course, it's all very well and good saying the players that we have brought in are fantastic on paper. It's all about how they do in the park. It's all about their performances and if they live up to the expectations. But right now, as a Celtic fan, I am honestly chuffed with this, and I will safely say, in the last 10 years anyway, this has got to be the best transfer window Celtic have had. The last transfer window I can remember having a massive effect on Celtic in terms of signings was 2010-11, when Neil Lennon was brought in after the horrendous job that Tony Mowbray done, and there was a revamp needed. The squad was terrible. They came in and we ended up over the next couple of years signing the likes of Ki Sung Young, we signed Joe Ledley, Gary Hooper, Tony Stokes. I think you had Victor Wanyama coming in, Fraser Forster, all in that kind of year or two. That was the last time I feel like we jumped into the transfer market and made big changes and spent decent money. Now, of course, I think 2016 as well was another key transfer window. You've seen Brendan Rodgers come in, he signed Scott Sinclair, signed Moussa Dembele, brought in Kolo Toure, who later on went to be a coach. But there were still garbage signings in there. Remember Christian Gamboa and Doris de Vries, they came in the same window as well. This transfer window, if you told me at the start of it, that would be ending it with Albion Ayeti of West Ham United, Shane Duffy of Brighton, Mohamed El Younousi would be back, signing David Turnbull, a £5 million keeper, and a left back who was in the World Cup team of the year, team of the tournament, sorry. If you'd told me that at the start of this window, there was no way I would have believed you. Absolutely no way on earth. So hats off to the board and Neil Lennon for really going out there and doing it. They know how big this season is, and despite a lot of our complaints so far this year with performances on the park and players looking lazy and everything else, they have backed them. And as I've already said, there is no excuse now for not winning 10 in a row with the squad we have to our disposal. You look at every area on the park after this window, there's depth everywhere. There's players that are more than capable of not even just making a mark in Scotland and winning 10 in a row, but Europe as well. In Europe, we can do something in Europa League this year. Now, I know we said that last year, then we got to the last 16, the last 32, and we croaked it. We choked in front of Copenhagen and they put us out, but this is a team that can go further than that stage we went last year. We can win our group again this year with the squad we have right now. Brilliant squad, and I'm very happy. we got a lot of our business done quickly, and yes, it was a very weird window for in terms of there were so many rumours of who was going to be coming in, who wasn't. The goalkeeper talk, there was about 5 keepers were linked with. At some point, Joe Hart was coming. People were talking about even going down for Arthur Boric, for God's sake. Left back was a big priority, but we got a lot of the key business done first. We got our goalkeeper to replace Fraser Forster, and I'm very happy with the signing of Barkas. I think he looks strong. We brought in another striker to play alongside Edouard. We knew we needed that for the 3-5-2 system when we seen what was happening with Lee Griffiths at the time. And yet he has came in and he scored 5 goals. And that's fantastic. He looks great. He looks like the type of striker we need beside Edouard. El Yunusi was done so soon into the window. Brilliant. We all wanted him back. He's a key player. We know how good he can be when he plays his best. We went back and got Turnbull. And then the left back situation, we needed to do something. In terms of outs, we've not lost anybody that big, but we've seen Johnny Hayes go. And for me, that is still the biggest loss of the transfer window. I feel like Johnny Hayes was really underestimated as what he brought to Celtic. And his role was underappreciated. He was that utility man who was coming, he would be versatile, he could play over the park, he gave his 100% effort every time. And yes, technically he might have not been the best player in the world, he might have not been setting the world alight. But we needed to replace him, and we needed some of that left-hand side, and then Bolingoli left as well. And it took time, but we got there, and the board listened, and Neil Lennon listened. And if they didn't listen, I think they would have been off their heads anyway, because it was evident we needed someone there. But everything we acted on so well. The business was conducted brilliantly. When we did get knocked back from players we wanted, you look at left back especially, we wanted Alfie Doughty, we wanted Sessegnon. We were linked with all these players. We didn't give up, and we found someone who arguably now was the best option. So things have turned out really nice. Let me quickly address the comments that Charlie Nicholas made today. Charlie Nicholas bombarded Neil Lennon and Celtic for what he thought was a disastrous transfer window, and he thought was a cheap transfer window. He thought Celtic weren't good enough, and he thinks it's going to cost them. Look, Charlie, shut up. And it just goes to show why he's lost his job at Sky. Absolute nonsense. Gripping for relevance, as usual with these former players. I would love to know where the bitterness comes from when it comes to the likes of Commons, Nicholas, Andy Walker, all the rest of them. These former Celtic players. Why? How is this a bad window? And I'm very happy with how Neil Lennon responded to it in his press conference today. Even if we signed Ronaldo and Messi, Nicholas would be moaning. That is spot on from what Neil Lennon has said. Shut up. That's simply what's got to be said. Absolute nonsense as always. Charlie Ridiculous back at it again. I think this is the best window we've had in over 10 years. As you can see on the side of your screen, I have got the ins and outs, but very quickly on terms of outs, I feel like we've done well in that field as well. Of course, as I've touched on, we've kept everybody who's a key player and of deep quality, so that's good. But we've cut a lot of dead wood. We've loaned out players who were not going to be in the team, who we don't have plans for at the moment. You see your Jack Hendrys, your Bolingoli's, all of those guys heading out on loan. There is more outs as well, but a lot of them were on the youth team and such, so the unders team, so I wasn't going to include all of them. But the only 2 players who I feel like we shouldn't have let go was Simonovic and Hayes. When you judged the depth at the time, I didn't understand, and I still don't understand Hayes right now, but he's doing well for Aberdeen too, so it just shows he's still a good player. But I didn't understand him at the time. Now, I guess it's not so bad because we have brought in the likes of Shane Duffy, we have brought in the left back as well, like Salt. But it was disappointing at the time, but apart from that, decent business. It wasn't a big window for money being brought in. I suspect that will be next season. We need to get contracts tied down for the likes of Edouard and Ayer and such, so we can get money for these guys. Make a gentleman's agreement. But a decent window in terms of outs as well. Craig Gordon gone as well. He wasn't going to get in the team. So we've freed up a lot of wage space, I suppose. We've loaned out younger guys as well to give them a chance. Overall, I cannot complain about this window. Which brings me on to the final part of the transfer window review today, and it was getting your guys' opinions. Last night I tweeted, absolutely chuffed with the signing of Black Salt. Business looks done and makes for a cracking window. Good player to have on the left hand side. Question is now, is this the best transfer window we've had in the past 10 years? And out of 823 votes, follow me on Twitter by the way, at Ryan Stephen F, we got a whopping 86% of you saying yes, with only 14% saying no. So the vast majority agreeing with me that this was the most successful window we've had in the past 10 years. Some of the comments to point out today, Callum O'Rourke saying we can't go low on the board, penny pinchers now, gone all out for the 10, signed quality in all the right areas. The January signings looking good when played to so far. Lenny and the board and recruitment team, well done. A good Jim Shite day for once. Jim Shite day, jeez. Like Salt needs a haircut though. He does, doesn't he? Benidorm vibes going on there. But thank you, Callum, for your input. Chris, he was saying an absolute rock-solid window from the board. Ball now firmly in Lennon's court. He's been given everything he needs to take the 10. No excuses. Anthony Miller saying still remains to be seen, but it's been a while since we've actually seen this many signings in one window. We've added in positions where we're lacking, so now it hopefully pays off. And yeah, we've got a bunch of comments. There's tons. Thank you to everybody who has replied to the tweet. A lot of them I probably won't get to read them all out. Michael McKenna saying it's the best since the O'Neill era. A conflicting comment from Killian or Cillian. It's Killian, isn't it? Why am I saying Cillian? He says he still thinks the season we got DeBerry and Sinclair is better. Colin says cracking signings this summer, but I'd go to 17 when we brought in Cham and Eddie, even if it was just on loan. And then finally we'll end off with Stevie, who says yes, it really is probably the best window since 2000 and 2001. Hopefully we can get another one before it finishes, but I'm definitely happy with this window. Of course, the window has finished. We didn't add anyone else, but January will be exciting nonetheless. I'd like to thank everybody who did leave their comments, and also I'd like to thank everybody who's tuned into the Celtic Transfer Talk series over the past 2-3 months on the channel. It has been undoubtedly the most successful videos I have made, and it's sad that it's coming to an end. The views, the clicks, the subscribers, the ad revenue, everything. I'm joking, but it's been a really successful series, so thank you all for making that stand out on the channel recently. It has undoubtedly been the most watched content and what's helped the channel grow. So please keep it up without the Celtic Transfer Talk stuff. Please share out the videos. Please get everybody involved, because it's going to be tough without these videos. These are the ones that grab more viewers, and these are the ones that bring new people in. So you do your bit, and I'll certainly keep supplying the content for you. But until next time, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time again.